Hello, Nift aspirants. Welcome to this webinar session. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing good. You all can switch on your videos. Aishwarya, Pujita, everyone. We know that you all are waiting for your result to come out of phase 1, which will be out in the month of March. This seminar is especially for the students who have given the exam of NIFT part phase 1, and now they want to prepare for situation test. Weightage of situation test is 20%, and this is very important. This 20% is really very important to get into your dream desired college. To discuss more about this, we have with us Mr. Aditya, our expert faculty. So he will be explaining in detail about this situation test and important things to be kept in mind before giving the exam, before going to the exam. Hi, Aditya.
Hello, ma'am. A very good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good, ma'am. How about you? Thank you.
I'm good. Thank you for coming and sharing your experience and everything about Nift situation test with the students. So Aditya sir will be telling forward about Nift situation test. He will be discussing about it. What is Nift situation test, exam pattern, and everything. So over to you, Aditya.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Good evening, students. So as you all have already cleared the phase 1 part and still waiting for the results, right? Now it is very much important to understand why the situation test is being conducted. If we know the why behind the test, it will be more easier for us to prepare in that direction. Of course, we are not preparing for architecture or fine arts, right? Then why there is a need of understanding model making when it comes to situation test? So it is very simple. The main reason for conducting the test is to know your material handling and innovative ability in a way that you can execute a certain theme or a motive with a limited usage of materials under a given span of time. Now, the criteria behind evaluation will be on like space visualization and the like innovative and the creative use of given material, the composition of elements, color scheme, construction skill, the fineness of the model, and overall presentation. Right. About this, the parameters will be also checked along on the concept note that you are going to write, which again stands a very important point. So in terms of situation test, you will have to construct a model, not necessarily a space-based model. It may be related to attributes. It may be related to a theme. To understand that on very important note, we also have to get clear on what are the topics or what is the exam paper pattern behind this whole. So talking about the paper pattern or the structure of exam, you will be given 2 hours, right? And it will be for 100 marks. Okay. Now, if we see the percentage, the 20% weightage will be for your concept note. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, what is the importance of writing if we are just creating the whole model and will score good marks? No, that's not possible. Apart from writing, you also need to give importance like to the model in a way that your write-up and your executed model stands on the same note. Sometimes what happens that if it is an attribute-based question, right? And on a very intangible note, you have created the model, right? Not necessarily the juror will get the idea behind your model. So to explain and validate your model, you need to write up. What if that it's not a space-based question? The question is related to an expression. If we talk about previous year paper pattern, there was a question where you have to express joy in terms of a model. So if you are going in a very abstract direction and you're making a model with a given set of materials, but if you're not writing, so your 80% will go down. So it is not just about 20% focusing on just a write-up, right? Yeah. So it sometimes you have to write in a way that explains your model. So apart from 20%, students do focus that that 80% which you are going to execute in the model will be dependent on that 20% of what you're going to write. If the question is going towards an attribute based scenario.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, what happens at Nift situation test? What is the environment? What happens? What they get? What is the basic whole criteria about Nift situation test?
Yes. So you will be given a piece of like an envelope where, hello. Yeah. So you will be given a piece of this envelope where materials will be given to you, selective materials, and in a very finite quantity. You won't be having like a vast quantity of things. For example, if we talk about wire, so you won't be getting a 10 feet long wire. It will be max 3 feet, right? Depending on the thickness which they are giving, and a paper in which questions will be there. Of course, you will have an option. For any sort of question, you will have an option. And depending on that option, you can select which question you wish to appear. And the materials that they are going to provide will be enough for both the questions that they are going to give. Both the questions, as in not you have to appear both the questions, but either way, if you are choosing any questions, the material are going to validate that part of question. And the environment, so yeah, students will be sitting at every corner. And I always say that as soon as you get the cover and the envelope, so instead of getting panic in seeing what others are doing, first check out, is your list correct? Whatever things are being in your envelope are correct or not? Because sometimes what happens, in fewer case, you might encounter certain missing things in your part. So rather than just seeing around what others are doing, it's better to just see what exactly you have got and if something is missing or not. And of course, the environment is a bit tense because everyone is like in their own scenario. And most important thing, which I would like to highlight over here, because even last year when students came post their this situation test, they shared that, sir, I was having this kind of cutter and the other student sitting next to me was having another type of cutter. So you do not have to evaluate yourself based on what others are doing. And that happens because when you are nervous and you are like under a pressure to attempt something, you will start seeing what others are doing. And as soon as you start doing it, you will feel he has that sort of material, he has that sort of cutter, he has that sort of scale. I am having this, what I'm going to do. So do not worry about that. The environment is going to be tense, but you need to focus on your desk, your part.
Yeah, that is very important. If they don't focus there, then they will always feel that we are missing something. So in question paper also, they have options like out of 3, you have to make any one model. So how to choose that particular part with given set of material, they have to make a model. So how to choose like what option is correct or how to work on that, because that is very important.
Yes, yes. It's a very good point that you are highlighting over here, ma'am. Now, the model materials that are being given to you are enough in a way that you can appear either way questions, right? It's not something that this sort of materials are just valid for this option and for other option you won't be using these materials. The materials can be used both the way. How to opt it out is, first, students, you need to self-analyze yourself on your skill set. Sometimes what happens, a particular student is pretty good when it comes to surface development or working with paper or working with cutter, right? And then there are students who are good with like working with clay or thermocol. So if you are finding a question that is based on making a space, and you think that considering the given set of materials, I have to create a space, I have a cardboard, I have 3 colored paper, I have a piece of wire and a piece of colored textured sheet, and you think that your cutting skills are good, go with making the space model. And then if in the case of materials provided, there is sort of a lump of clay, a part of thermocol block, a part of 3 sets of wire, and you think that the question is going towards attribute based where you have to either create an expression or you have to replicate something that is in existence, be it a product or anything, then go with that. So it depends on your skill set. But the most important thing is either way, whichever option you are selecting, do not rush in selecting the option. First, ideate. You will be also provided a blank paper. So roughly doodle it in like 2 to 3 minutes. You're part of ideation. So once you're confident enough with that ideation, start working it. Do not waste 15 to 20 minutes in ideation, or like more than 15 minutes in ideation, and then take a U-turn and go to other questions. So while like selecting out the option, first 2 3 minutes, be firm and select it based on your skill set and based on the materials provided and based on the first idea you are getting.
So all the material, whatever is there in the envelope, they have to use everything to create a model, or like there will be some material left also behind?
See, good question. You have to use each part of material, but for example, if it's an A4 sheet paper, this much sheet is being given to you, okay? And if you are using almost 75% of that paper, it is fine. But if you are cutting it into half, making something out of that paper, and that other half is just getting wasted, no one is going to assess that. But certainly, seeing your model, the juror will get an idea that you haven't used the complete resource, or you haven't conceptualized the model properly. So I always recommend that do not rush in using every part of the material. But if you are thinking that according to my model, if I have to make a space enclosure and I am taking dimensions accordingly, and if 75% of the material is being used and the 25% is I'm just putting it, it's fine. But also in that case, to use everything, do not forcefully add materials. Sometimes that happens if it's a window display question where you have to make a model of a shoe display unit or a bag display unit. So in the end, while things are going in rush, students start cutting wire and everything and stick it on the model. Now what happens? As of now, your model is pretty strong and durable, but sometimes the juror might come the next day to assess your model. So all those end moments, sticking of wire and pieces of paper and everything will drop. So eventually you will be there from where you started.
So it is very important to use appropriate material also. So
Yeah.
when we create a model, it is important that the model should be very like looking wise, it should be very good, or durability is very important. What is important basically when a person is creating a model?
Yes, there is a very famous saying, form follows function and function follows form. Right? Designers always use this quote. When it comes to NID, your model will be more assessed based on functionality. But as it is Nift, you need to understand form plays a vital role in replicating your idea. But it is not form as in aesthetic sense. Form as in the durability of model and also the visual appearance of model. So you need to balance the durability with the visual appearance. For example, if you are being asked to create a memento for COVID warriors, like people who were helping in Corona and pandemics, right? You are being given bamboo sticks, thermocol, fire, and colored chart paper. Now, the first thing, listening a memento in your mind, it will come that I will put the bamboo sticks in front of the over the thermocol ball, and I will aesthetically decor it with chart paper. Okay, good idea. But what if, by any circumstances, handling your model from here to there, if that bamboo sticks break, so next day when, or even in the evening when the juror is going to check your model, right, your model will be something else from what you made. So you have to conceptualize the materials and idea in a way that that stability and durability should be your priority with respect to visual appearance.
Okay. So as you said, that jury will be there. So there will be a proper set of jury who will analyze the whole model after they submit it.
Yes, yes. The jurors, because it is Nift, the jurors are pretty experienced and they will examine your whole model based on multiple things. See, the criteria depends on multiple factors, but to highlight on few, usage of material matters a lot. So if you are being given colored paper and if you are using only it for aesthetic or decor purpose, you also need to understand those color papers can be cut, can be folded, can be like you can use techniques of origami or kirigami to and make it something more durable compared to using it just as a plain background. So jurors are more interested in seeing how you are using the materials for a particular exercise. Because when it comes to window display, 99% of students will make an open cube with a base and with two walls like this. Right now, that is very basic. You can do it, but post making it, how are you going to add other materials in it? If it's a thermocol and you are using it for base, you also need to remember that you can cut down those thermocols and create in the part of ceiling, or you can cut down those thermocols, use as part of sandpaper, mold it and create display units. So jurors are more interested on how you are using the materials, and then comes the next point, that is the concept note. Even if it's a space model, or even if it is a product model, or the model is based on attributes, if your write-up is not matching with the part of model, the game is gone. And when it comes to concept note, you should not be that my model is of colored red. Of course, it is being seen. You have to explain why it is color red. What is the idea behind using it color red? You can't just simply write or explain the juror in a concept note that the model is red, the model has this, the model has that. Of course, the juror can see it. You need to express and you need to explain why, what is the logic behind using that color red. So jurors are expecting more mature things from you when it comes to model making and writing the concept note.
Talking about writing the concept, when the student is writing the concept as per the model, so concept, how they can elaborate it into sentence, or it can be bullet like words or something. How can they express that, the content writing part?
Yes. See, I think that the content should be divided into three parts: the start, mid, and the end. Now, if we are talking about start, emphasize on and focus mainly on the ideation process. So if you have appeared a model related to attribute, so emphasize more in the starting of the concept note. What made you selected that option? Because you are introducing the audience, right? The juror right now is your audience. So you are introducing the audience on why you selected it. You need to validate your point. If you are not validating your point and you're just directly writing that I have made this particular memento or a model based on this, then it is not a mature part of writing. The first step, it should always be in terms of why you have selected it. So first para done. When it comes to mid para, uh, explain vividly the process of ideation to conceptualization. If you are being inspired from any scenario, write it down. If you have developed your idea into a concept based on certain things or certain process that you have involved in making that whole thing, write it down. And in the end, write your interpretation. What according to you that particular model is. If it is a space model, or even if it is related to part of attribute or a product, your interpretation matters most. But you can't directly start with your interpretation, because right now you're a student, right? You students, you really need to keep in mind you are appearing for an entrance exam. So you can't explain the juror that this is my point. You need to be very humble in writing, and you need to end with your interpretation. But you should always start with what made you selected that particular option.
Okay.
So concept note, ma'am, should be into three stages. The start, focusing mainly on what made you selected that particular option and what were your ideation process. The mid should mainly focus on idea to conceptualization, and in the end, focus like your interpretation on what the above scenario is for you.
Okay. So, and what do you think the do's and don'ts in the Nift situation test? Because there are a lot of material handling work is there. There is Fevicol, there is scissor, there is cutter
Yes.
also. As you said earlier, also someone, if they see cutter of anyone else, they get it like
Yes.
really sad about it. We don't have that part. So handling
Yeah.
material, what are the do's and don'ts that they have to keep in mind? This is very important, everyone. If you can switch on your videos, it will be great. Yes, Aditya.
Yes, ma'am. So an important point over here, although your admit card, once it will come to you, you will be given a set of things that you are going, you can carry on in the exam hall. But some things you always need to keep in mind is, uh, first, see, do not carry a plastic scale, right? Always carry a steel edge, because what happens that while in pressure, when you are operating, cutting and everything, if your cutter skids down the part of plastic scale because it has a flat edge, chances are you will cut down your own finger. Steelage are pretty flat, so while you are operating the cutter, less are the chances that your cutter will skid down towards your finger. And even in steelage, use the other side where the markings are not given. So your cutter won't get bit vibrate while you are cutting the piece of model. So always use the steelage on the reverse part, and keep a like 30 centimeter steelage. Carry both cutter, the bigger one and the smaller one, with a precision knife. And I have seen a lot of students always in rush, while they are in rush, while the pressure is on, while the time is tickling on the head, they start cutting with the precision knife. Never do it. Precision knife is to take precise cut, right? Never ever cut it with it. Always use a cutter, and always use a lockable cutter. So if you have to take out the part of cutter, you just lock it and operate it. Carry a wooden pencil rather than a clutch or a technical pencil. So if you have to do quick marking, your pencil remains sharp throughout the whole of 2 hours. Because in clutch pencil, every alternate time you will have to take it out, and either way, like there are chances you might get lost. So better take a wooden pencil and do it. While using a Fevicol, always take a bit out of in a smaller quantity or a piece of paper. Dip a part of stick or a paper from the cutting, and then operate. Do not directly apply the Fevicol or squeeze it on the paper. That's a big no. Never ever do markings or write anything on your model. Even if it is a space model, you are making a window display. I know a lot of you are fashion enthusiastic, so you will write big brand names like Gucci or Balenciaga, but you are not advisable to do that, because you are not going to promote any brand over there. Okay, so never ever make a mistake of writing a brand on that window display. If you are making a window display for shoe unit, your model should speak by making shoes rather than writing a brand, right? You should have, your model should speak more based on what you are going to make. If you are going to make Kate Spade, just make bags and the products that they're going to sell. Do not write Kate Spade or try to illustrate anything in the backdrop, because that's not going to give a good impression to the jurors. And apart from it, when the like envelope comes to you and when you're reading the question, first sort out all the materials. And for a safer side, you can start writing in the like right side or the bottom left, where only you can see it. What are the numbers given to you? 3 sheets of this, 2 pieces of this, 1 piece of this, and accordingly start reading the question. 15 minutes, not more than that. 15 minutes, ideate the whole thing. You can create a rough doodle. If you are going ahead with space making or making a space model, it's always advisable to create a rough doodle layout first before cutting any material. Because once it is cutted, there is no U-turn. So always make a rough diagram of all the walls or all the floor plates that you're going to use, and then accordingly execute it.
Okay. So if you have any questions related to any of the questions answered, you can ask in the chat box below. We will be answering all your questions after completing a small part. So if you have any questions related to NIFT situation test, batches, anything, you can ask in the chat box below. So Aditya, as you said about the paper pattern, how to use material and everything. So time management is equally important, that how they manage time. You have already explained it, like you have to meticulously use it. Like you have limited time, you have only 2 hours with you, in which you have to analyze, ideate, you have to create a model, everything you have to do. So how systematically they can manage that whole thing, that the whole process from first to end, how can they do that?
See, start with a 10-minute target of ideation process, because if you will target 10-minute students, then you will take 15 to 20 minutes. So keep in mind 10 minutes, start the ideation process, and in that 10 minutes includes everything. That is part of selecting the question, part of understanding the materials given to you, and part of your rough doodle or your part of ideation. Max, if you want to spend, you can go to 15 to 20 minutes, but not more than that. Post that 1 hour, you have to start executing your model. First and foremost, start cutting things, and parallel start sticking it. I have seen a lot of students complain post their test that, sir, I started cutting everything, and then when I was trying to stick it, I didn't have time. So who is saying you to first cut everything and then stick? If you are creating a base, cut the base, stick it, put it aside. So it will also take time to settle because the Fevicol is wet. Let it dry, right? And it depends on your center. Not every time you will get an air conditioner room. There might, because it's month of summer, there are chances you will just have fan. And if you are not used to working with fan, drying a Fevicol is a task. So you need to have that patience level 2. That first cut it, stick it, put it aside, start cutting another planes, stick it, put it aside, and then work. You can't just cut everything first and then start sticking it, or you can't just cut it and then sticking it and wait. Okay, now this is done. I will go towards the next part. No. And then while you are writing the concept note, do not start a fresh draft there itself. While you are making the model and while you are ideating, write points, students, write highlighters, write point. So in the end, the last 30 minutes while you are writing the concept note, you just have those highlighted points and you have to convert them into paragraphs, structure of lines, and you are good to go with your concept note.
That's great. So I have received a question asking about how we can practice this, the whole about NIFT situation test. For this, I will explain you with a with few slides. I would like to share the slides. So Nift situation test coaching program. So we prepare you for that, for the Nift situation goal program, that how to start, what are the whole different models that you have to create, you have to develop. So we will be doing that. So we have 4 programs for the students giving exam this year for an NIFT situation test. First is 5 days free workshop to understand the whole concept of Nift situation, like what kind of situation will be there, introduction on creative thinking, design concepts, and working on different themes. You will be solving some of the papers. There will be interaction with NIFT alumni where they will be telling you your strength and weakness. So 5 days free workshop you can enroll so that you get the basic idea about Nift situation test. Second option is live online classes and classroom coaching. So this preparation we are starting from 19th of February. So this preparation will be till the entrance exam date, that is in the month of April. So you will have your class weekly, thrice or daily also. That depends on our timetable. So this whole preparation will cover introduction of creative thinking, design concepts, working on different themes, 3D model making, material manipulation, writing skills. So you will get some tips that how you can write, as Aditya said, that you have to write also what you are making, the concept building. So that solving of Nift original papers, 10 mock test papers also, like what kind of questions can come in exam relatable to the present generation. Like earlier they asked question based on COVID because COVID was there. So whatever is going on in present scenario, what kind of questions will be there in the exam? So that type of mock test also you will be doing. Access to online learning software, So online learning software is pre-recorded videos. So we have prepared a portal where there are some pre-recorded videos that you can access. So after the class, if you get stuck with some cardboard use or Fevicol use, you can access that videos as well. Very important faculties. So here, all the faculties who will be teaching you are NIFT alumni. So NIFT alumni will be teaching you, and Bhanwar sir, the director of the institute, Mr. Bhanwar Rathore, he himself is NIFT graduate only. So everything from scratch to end is developed and supervised by him only. So that is why we get maximum result also throughout. So I will tell about the result as well in the upcoming slide. Third option, this is also important, home coaching pack. Abhi aapke boards exam honge, so if you are in dilemma that I cannot go ahead with the coaching program as I have my boards, I have to prepare for that as well, then you can take the home coaching pack. Now, this home coaching pack, we will be covering everything, but you have to like self-study material. It is basically where there will be a workbook and you will get access to online pre-recorded videos that you can yourself see, and then you can yourself make different models. And at last, you can attend a 5-day free workshop also, which is a part of home coaching pack. In the 5-day free workshop, you can learn the basic that how to use the material. So here again, it will be with NIFT alumni, only a 5-day free workshop, and all the videos which are there in this portal are like made by NIFT alumni only. Fourth option. So if you want only access to pre-recorded videos, like you just want pre-recorded videos that before board exam, just we can get friendly with the material, you want only the access of that, then we have that portal as well, online learning portal, where you will get a book wherein there will be a lot of activities, 100 material handling videos, 50 situation test practice exercise, solution to 15 years situation test papers, original papers as well as sample paper. Here also 5-day situation test workshop will be complimentary. For more information related to this is our number also, you can note it down, 9825057598. So if you are feeling like there are more chance that you can clear your phase 1, or if you have taken a drop year this time, then definitely you can start preparing from 19th. You get almost 40 to 45 days. So the more you practice, the better you can make models, because ideation is something, it will take time. So that is why we are starting batches from 19th of February. So you can join the batch, you can learn throughout till the entrance exam date, and you can be an expert before the exam. So registrations are open, and yes, there are only 20 seats in a batch, first come, first basis. So if the seats are full, we won't be allowed you to enroll with us for this whole workshop thing. Pre-book your seats for 19th of February batch. Information is available on www.rathoredesign.com. This is our website wherein you can get all the details about BRDS, about result, course content, video link, everything. New batch, as I said, it is starting from 19th February. Every Monday, we will be starting batches. For more information, you can call us on 98250-57598 is our number. So that nearest center counselor, nearest center, whatever center is near to you, our counselor can get in touch with you for offline classes, and online classes also we have from throughout, like from starting to end. So result. Why this whole session is there? Because you want to be in NIFT. So result is also very important that you get in NIFT. So BRDS result, we are highest result producer in India, highest selection record we have. NIFT till now, 10,139 students from BRDS went to NIFT. We started in 2008 with 22 students who went to NIFT. In 2023, there were total 1,938 students who went to NIFT. So you can see the number. You can see the number of seats available with NIFT, maximum around 1,900 students were from BRDS. So every other student, we have that also, that out of 189 students in NIFT are from BRDS. So yeah, all India rank 1st to 10th were from BRDS. This information is also available on our website, www.rathoredesign.com. You can see the student name, their photographs, their rank, and everything is available over there, every information. Every year, we used to publish our results also in newspaper, Ahmedabad Mirror, Education Times, in Ahmedabad, in Mumbai, in Pune, everywhere we used to publish our result to authenticate that, yes, you get highest result over here because of the faculties and the mentors. We challenge also that if any institute proves to be better in terms of results, you can claim a cash prize of 1 crore. So yeah, this is the prize challenge as well. So for more information related to all the NIFT thing, you can visit our website, www.rathoredesign.com, or you can call us on 9825057598. So this is our number. And yeah, this was all about the presentation. Now, again, we will be switching on to the questions that Aditya will be answering. So that was the break time for him. Meanwhile, I took the session explaining you about the portion we have, because I have received questions that how we can practice about the situation test. So I need to explain about the programs that we have. So yeah, so Nift situation test, any question, any example you can say, Aditya, like what type of questions came earlier and what was the whole ideation required? Any question from the past
Yes.
year?
Yes, yes, sure. So let us talk about the last year example itself. Okay. Here at BRDS, how do we start preparation is we do not directly jump to making a model itself, right? Because we believe that before we encounter the whole model, we should have a clear skill set of usage of materials. So individually, we take each material. So one day we will just work with wire. One day we will just work with part of clay. One day we will work with thermocol. Of course, in the part of situation test, students, you won't be asked questions related to individual materials. The amalgamation of materials will be there, and you will have to make a model based on it, right? But we believe that if we are preparing for this crucial step or this examination part, we should not leave any room of error. So that's why we start preparing for individuality in materials. We thoroughly get done with wire, thermocol, cardboard, paper, uh, clay, and everything. So last year, while we were working on different materials, we encountered a question of making different expressions, be it related to music, be it related to space, of a musician or anything. And coincidentally, that same question appeared in the paper itself, right? That's the same question where you have to create a studio for a musician. So now the students were full in confident, and a lot of students appeared with that question. And also when they came, they said that that process was very important because considering NIFT questions, they never ask directly, right? Here, while we were preparing the question, we came with different options. For example, if you are taking a musician, the students were given possibility of Sufi, rap, rock, all those possibilities. But when it came to NIFT, they are to the point of what exactly they are looking for. So the questions appear in a very different form. Uh, the optional question was based on attributes, where you have to create an expression based on certain attributes that were being noted in the option. One was joy, the other was part of sorrow, and one was related to color. Right. But again, because the students were well prepared in that whole scenario, so when it comes to joy, you can't make a joker or a clown's face directly. That is not what NIFT is asking about. Your NIFT is asking how can you express joy with paper, wire, and thermocol. So few students did good thing. A student from your BRDS, uh, he made a box with taping wires in center, and each wire were having thermocol blocks of different parts of papers attached to it, and the blocks were going in a way, in a direction that when you see from a certain view, you feel a part of uh, color grid or color theory behind joyness. So this is how you have to intangibly express the part of idea when you are expressing the whole question. So here also, while preparing, we focus mainly on individuality of materials.
Okay. So yeah, that was the question. And we were discussing before this seminar also that this question that the students did in the batch, it came in the exam and students were really happy
Yes,
that
yes.
they were aware about the whole situation, that what exactly to
Whole
make.
situation, yeah.
So that is the power when you
But
learn
two
something.
students just, exactly, yeah. That's what the thing is. Two students directly made that whole model which they created over here. So
Okay.
that was a good thing for them because they had less time for ideation. Like they didn't have to waste time on ideation. So the plus point was that they could write more on that concept note.
And they were already aware about the whole thing. That is the power of learning. When you are guided by the expert faculties, you know each and everything prior only. Now it's just that if the question is not relatable also, that what we have taught over here, then also it is quick for them to generally do that.
Yes,
And
yes, sure. See, even if the question is not relatable because it was a coincidence that the question got relatable, but even let's consider the question is not in relation. Okay, but the skill sets that we have developed, we start with just working on surface development. Now, surface development is very important to quickly make forms out of shapes. We then just work on origami and kirigami. So, take any questions that come, right? It students are confident enough with the skill set, then they are going to appear with the question. But if we just give 5 questions and ask them to do it, considering the limitless possibility, that is not how it can happen. So we also do not teach in that direction. We always teach with the techniques and skill sets because we believe that if the skill set is good, right, students, so either way, any question, whichever comes on your way, you're going to attempt it. But if you are lacking with the skill set and you are just like a parrot who has learned certain words, then it's not going to work.
yeah, true. Anything you want to say, that some tricks that they can how they can make their design impactful, because this is very important for the exam. What tricks they can use for the exam, because they all majorly will be giving exam this year only in the month of April. So tricks will help them to learn easily. So what tricks you feel like it is important to understand, to know?
Master the understanding of surface development because a lot of time when you have to create forms and if you have no idea behind the geometry and mathematics of form, you are going to do hard work labor and your time will get waste. But if you know that quick method of how to make a pyramid or how to make a cylinder or how to make a cuboid with just few cuts, few half cut and few flaps, you are ready with that particular form in a couple of minutes. So while you're working with paper or cardboard, master the skill set of surface development and also understand that Japanese technique of origami and kirigami plays a very important role because not every time you are going to sit on your table and cut multiple times and stick multiple times to create a form, right? Origami and origami, your forms will create quickly. Similarly, of course, we are going to train you here because we make you practice with different gauge of wire. Although when it comes to Nift, they are going to give you a zero 0.5 or a zero 0.8 wire, but we test your limit till 1.5 in a way that your hand, because you guys might be having soft hands and you haven't worked with wire first. So we should not make you feel that for the very first time when you are working with wire, you get small brushes and scratches on your fingers. So that's why we will make you work like with the maximum thickness of wire they might ask. But it's also your responsibility, students, to master your hand in a way that you can easily rotate them, easily twirl, easily bend them, easily interlock them. So these are some tricks, tricks you can keep in mind to quickly execute your whole model. Similarly, if you're working with clay, prepare your hand in a way, because be it like when it comes to situation test, your hand should be in a way, okay, if you are working with a wire, your hand should be strong. And if you are working with clay, your hand again should be on a very softer note. So the trick is just simply train your hands that be it a wire or be it a clay, you can easily execute the part of thing which you have ideated.
Okay, so great. So now if you have any questions related to this whole NIFT situation test, NIFT, then you can ask in the chat box below. Aditya will be answering all your questions. So apart from previous year's paper, how can one practice for the situation test? There is one question from Khushi.
Pardon, can you repeat, ma'am?
Yeah, apart from previous papers, how should one practice for situation test?
If if you have no idea regarding materials or regarding the previous year paper questions or anything, simply start with cutting folding techniques and then go and see the part of questions of previous year paper. Because once you are thorough with the technical part or the skill set part, the questions will be more easy and simpler for you to understand. Prepare in a way that you can create a cube, a cuboid, a cylinder, a pyramid in less than 3 to 4 minutes. But that just simply cutting the part in surface development and folding it, sticking it, and giving 3 half cut. So when it comes to preparation, I believe that your skill set should be to the mark. That simpler things like creating a cuboid or volumetric forms, or creating a human periphery through wire, or creating or cutting the part of thermocol, because you need to understand that while you're cutting the thermocol, it should not shred. You should train your hand, because the same cutter that you're going to use for mount board, the same cutter you are going to use for thermocol. But when it comes to mount board, you are going to give 3-4 cuts so that it easily gets cut. But when it comes to thermocol, you need to understand the more pressure, the more cuts you will give, the more part of thermocol will be shredded. So these are the preparation you need to have on your own before you start preparing with the paper itself. But you really need to see the paper pattern, student, because you can't just simply forget the paper and just be preparing with skill sets. You need to keep in mind the paper.
Yeah, so, that's true. So now Nikshita is asking, now that we have pre-boards and boards, how many hours can we allocate to practice each day for NIFT exam to crack it, NIFT situation to crack it? So how much time you feel it weekly they can give for this situation, because they have their pre-boards, boards, a lot of things going on in upcoming months, and they have this exam also after completing the boards. So now how much time they can allocate for this particular thing?
See, if you're giving 1.5 hours per day, focusing mainly on the technical skill set part, right? Rest you will be guided and prepared with the paper here at BRDS. But because you are having boards and pre-boards and you will be occupied with multiple things, we are expecting daily just give one hour, right? In a way to sharpen your skill set. That is simply cutting things. And see, we won't be expecting that make a full model and come next day to the class, because we also know that you are having boards and you need to prepare for your academics. But we do expect that at least sharpen your skill set of working with cutter, working with wire, working with that plier, working with clay, working with thermocol. So daily 1 to 1.5 hours is good to go, just to sharpen your part of skill set. Rest here at BRDS, we will prepare you with exercises where different materials are mixed. So do not try to make models itself at home, because you will be wasting time of 3 to 4 hours. And you might get depressed or frustrated because your model won't get ready on your own, and you also won't be able to focus on part of your academics. So simply leave that on us. While you are here at BRDS, we will make you execute on models and concept ideas. But while you are at home, give 1.5 hours just to simply train your hands operating the cutter and other things.
Great. So you can be good at material handling, basically. The whole structure they can do
Material
it,
handling, yeah.
but material handling they
Yeah.
can be good at. Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
after the phase 1 result is out for the CET and JEE part, then only you are eligible to give. If you clear that, then only you are eligible to give a situation test. So yes, phase 1, you have to clear that, then only you can enter situation test part. What are the basic skills one need to get handy in order to get confident in studio tests like origami, surface development, etc.?
Yes, the basic compulsion skill set is surface development, origami, kirigami, understanding the clay. If it is a terracotta based clay, if it's an oil based clay, molding clay, because you need to understand that the more you will break the clay, the more it will get lumped while you will create the full part of clay. So those are some common sense things we need to understand while handling the material. Understanding the wire, how much you can bend it, how much you can twist it, how much you can like rotate it over a particular thing. And some things are like very street smartness thing, because if you're like working with wire and in exam you need to coil it down, so you have a pencil, so instead of manually coiling it, you won't get a finishing, so just use the pencil, start coiling the wire on it, remove the pencil, so you will have a full coil of wire. So these are some smart techniques which you can have. The rest, I guess, these three are the main basic things: the surface development, origami, kirigami, and yes, the very most important is design library. Because if you do not have a kind of library in your head, how are you going to generate idea?
Correct.
Giving an example, last year while we were preparing for the test, I gave an exercise on making a space for a famous fashion brand, a space, not a window display. Now, almost everyone went with famous brands and started writing it down, but they forgot the designer's approach, what the designer thought while designing that particular brand. Everyone went with the visual thing, that if it is Gucci, these are the color print, and they created it and they like pasted on that part of wall, but they forgot what's the designer approach. So you need to understand and create your own design library. There are famous artists and painters which you really need to understand, like Mario Miranda, take S.H. Raza, take Dali, take Picasso. If you have an understanding of their painting, your library is good to go. So when you are attempting a particular attribute which is based on empathy or anything, you have a good library in your head, so you can start quickly jotting down. But if you do not have library, you will always ask, sir, how do we get idea? So idea is not something you will get for 10 rupees. It is something that comes from your head.
Correct. So ideation, as you said earlier also, it is very important for any
Very important.
to choose the option as well and to create a model as well. So any questions, anyone? There are questions related to the fee structure. So fee structure, you can like, if you want an online learning portal, then fees is only 500 rupees, in which you can get a learning portal till the entrance exam date. You can access it, self practice it, and the coaching also it's of 5,000 only. So if you are opting for online learning material and then you want to convert your course to whole coaching, you can do that. And yeah, that ways we will be doing the whole set, doing the whole class. And if you have any doubts, you can call us on 98250 57598 is our number. For registering for free classes, 5-day free classes on our website, the link is available, rathoredesign.com. You can choose online registration form in which you will be finding Nift situation test. Again, there will be a form. You can fill that and you can start. If you are already BRDS student, because your BRDS students are also there, if you are BRDS student, soon we will be starting your classes as well. So yeah, you will be getting all the links, and classes also we will be starting after 19th for you. So yeah, the whole process for BRDS student definitely we are taking care of, and you will be getting the proper classes and access to online link. At end, anything, sir, you want to address regarding the whole thing, regarding last something if you want to say before ending this seminar?
Uh, just sharpen your skill set, and a lot of time I have seen students directly start preparing with the model itself, but it's highly recommended never to do it, because your model won't be constructed and you will feel frustrated of why the thing is not getting executed. So priorly work on the skill set. Emphasize more on your skill set, like cutting, folding, pasting, or even if you are like working with clay, right? How much to give pressure, how much not to give pressure, how to mold that particular part. So if your skill set are good to go, ideation and conceptualization can be done more easily. But if you do not have a good skill set and you directly start making the model, and if you're thinking that saying just 5 questions from previous year paper and making it, no, it never works. You need a guidance. You need a guidance on developing your skill set. Then only it will be more easier for you to attempt that particular question, because you can't directly go to the questions. That never can be done.
Thank you, sir. It was great session. I think all the students got the relevant information related to the Nift situation test, and they can prepare better now. So thank you, sir, for giving time to the students and to us for the whole webinar. So thank you very much for being here. Yeah. So thank you, everyone. We will end this. The students are writing that it was very helpful. So conduct one for NID Studio as well. Soon we will be doing that. We will be conducting a webinar for NID Studio as well. Very soon you will be getting the link for the same. So yeah, till then, prepare for situation test, prepare for your boards exam. All the best. If you have any doubts, I have already shared my number. You can call us so that we can guide you better. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day. Thank you. Thank you, Aditya, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. It was pleasure